You think that I am stressing or letting it get to me, please remember, there's too much good to worry about. BirdMan music.
How much of this journey with you and Wayne and all of the controversy, you're sitting back going, I know it's gonna come back together?
We gotta get this together, because it's affecting our kids.
Wow.
And that's not cool with me at all. His daughter is my godchild.
Right.
I love her to death.
2 rappers have been implicated in a plot. Another rapper. Back in April, Lil Wayne's tour bus was attacked. Performers BirdMan and Young Thug have been named in an indictment.
BirdMan thought calling Lil Wayne's son all the time would make Wayne overlook shady behavior, but he couldn't have been more wrong. Unless you've been living under a rock. You already know about the bitter feud between these two, but what you might not know is just how messy things got.
You already know what it is. Free Weezy album coming soon. Carter 5 coming soon.
For years, BirdMan had a reputation for playing with his artists' money and not paying them what they were owed. Plenty of them called him out publicly, but through all of it, Wayne stayed loyal.
Lots of your fans were quite shocked to hear that you're leaving Cash Money Records or have left Cash Money Records.
Yeah.
Do you want to just explain why you made that decision?
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, really, it came down to the fact that I just wasn't happy there anymore.
That loyalty, though, didn't last forever. When Wayne found out BirdMan was pulling the same tricks with him, all broke loose. The A-Milli hitmaker didn't hold back for a second. He put BirdMan on blast, publicly dissing and humiliating him every chance he got.
And niggas is trying to steer my career without letting me do or say a damn thing. But it's moments like this that make that shit this big to me. If you think that I am stressing or letting it get to me, please remember, there's too much good to worry about. BirdMan music.
At the time, BirdMan was one of the richest people in music, but Wayne wasn't about to let that stop him. He left Cash Money and took everything he brought to the table with him. And when Wayne walked away, BirdMan's empire started to crumble. That just shows how much power Wayne has. He's dangerous when crossed. Maybe that's why BirdMan took such drastic measures. It's alleged that BirdMan and Young Thug were behind a shooting targeting Lil Wayne's tour bus.
2 rappers have been implicated in a plot. Another rapper. Back in April, Lil Wayne's tour bus was attacked. Performers BirdMan and Young Thug have been named in an indictment.
But if they thought that was going to scare Wayne into submission, they clearly didn't know who they were dealing with. He kept going, refusing to let up on BirdMan. Eventually, the entire roster of stars Wayne introduced to Cash Money, including Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga, left too.
People are curious, like, with the whole Young Money, Cash Money, Wayne's conflict with Baby, like, where do you stand with all that?
Well, you know, my loyalty obviously lies with the people who gave me the platform, my first shot. So that's really where that line comes from.
Tyga went on the Breakfast Club and claimed that BirdMan still owes him
at least 12
million? Losing some of the biggest names in the game was a massive blow to BirdMan, and his record label took a huge hit. Things got so bad that BirdMan's company reportedly filed for bankruptcy. BirdMan even ended up begging Wayne for an apology, desperate to avoid losing everything.
How much of this journey with you and Wayne and all of the controversy, you're sitting back going, I know it's gonna come back together?
We gotta get this together, because it's affecting our kids.
Wow.
And that's not cool with me at all. His daughter is my godchild.
Right.
I love her to death.
But Wayne didn't forgive him for years and made sure the world knew exactly how he felt about his former mentor. There's so much more to unpack from this fallout, so let's break it down. In the late 90s and early 2000s, BirdMan and Lil Wayne were hip-hop's favorite father-son duo. Together, they built one of the most iconic labels of the era, YMCMB, Young Money Cash Money Billionaires. By the mid-2000s, YMCMB was untouchable, with Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj dominating the charts and shaping the sound of an entire generation. Their story felt like the perfect hip-hop fairy tale. BirdMan, the seasoned mogul, became a father figure to a young prodigy with unmatched talent. Wayne wasn't just any artist, he was a genius. By the time he was 8, Wayne had already written his first rap and knew he wanted to be an MC. A year later, he met BirdMan, joined Cash Money Records, and became the youngest artist on the label. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Wayne faced a lot of challenges, even at a young age. When he was just 11, his mother, concerned about the environment around Cash Money, told him to quit rapping and stop hanging out with the crew.
I mean, my mama went to school with him. My mama was so scared for me to even be involved with him. Wow. You know what I mean? All she would say was like, boy, that boy was 14 with $1 million. And she was scared of him.
The pressure was too much for Wayne, and he attempted to take his own life by shooting himself in the chest. He was only saved because a cop arrived just in time to rush him to the hospital. That moment was a clear sign of how much Wayne wanted to rap. Nothing was going to stop him from chasing his dream.
At the age of 12 years old, I shot myself. I was in the house. Police knocked on the door. I was right there. They knocked the door down.
By 14, Wayne dropped out of school to focus entirely on his music. In 1997, his career took off when he became part of the Hot Boys, alongside Juvenile, BG, and Turk. That same year, they released their debut album, Get It How You Live, but it was their 1999 project, Guerrilla Warfare, that put them on the map. The album hit #1 on the Billboard Top R&B/Hip Hop Albums chart and peaked at #5 on the Billboard 200. After the success of the Hot Boys, Wayne decided to go solo, and his debut album, Thaw Block Is Hot, dropped in November 1999. The project was an instant success, debuting at #3 on the Billboard 200 and going platinum just 2 months after its release. Wayne was officially a star, but the golden era of Cash Money wouldn't last long. Between 2001 and 2003, the label faced a mass exodus of its artists. Juvenile, BG, Turk, and others all left, accusing BirdMan of financial mismanagement and failing to pay them what they were owed. Despite all this turmoil, Wayne stayed loyal. He was the last man standing, holding down the Cash Money name. And it was during this time that he began one of the most remarkable runs in hip-hop history. Wayne dropped his second album, Lights Out, in 2000 and followed it up with 500 Degrees in 2002. While both albums went gold, they didn't hit the same heights as his debut. But Wayne wasn't discouraged. In fact, he was just getting started. In 2004, he released Thaw Carter, the first in what would become one of hip-hop's most celebrated album series. The project was a massive success, earning platinum certification and cementing Wayne's status as a force to be reckoned with. By the time Lil Wayne dropped Thaw Carter 2 in December 2005, it was clear that he wasn't just a star. He was on his way to becoming a legend. The album wasn't just a step up from the first Carter, it was a full-blown evolution of his sound and artistry. It debuted on the Billboard 200 and went on to sell over 2 million copies. Critics and fans couldn't get enough of Wayne's wordplay, flow, and the energy he brought to every track. His lyricism was sharper, his beats more refined, and the album showed just how versatile he could be. The success of Thaw Carter 2 marked a turning point in Wayne's career. Not only was he solidifying his place as one of the best in the game, but Cash Money also recognized his leadership potential. After the album dropped, Wayne was named president of Cash Money Records. This was a huge deal. He wasn't just an artist anymore. He was helping run the label. On top of that, it was announced that Wayne would be launching his own imprint under Cash Money, Young Money Entertainment. During this time, Wayne and BirdMan's relationship couldn't have been stronger. The bond they shared went beyond business. They truly saw each other as family. BirdMan had stepped in as a father figure for Wayne, especially after Wayne's biological father left the family when Wayne was just 9.
And I always today look at Wayne as my child. I was his father when he didn't have a father, since he was 9 years old. Right. And I love him like my own.
BirdMan didn't just mentor Wayne as an artist, he took care of him like a son. To highlight this bond, the duo released a joint album in 2006 titled Like Father, Like Son. Despite not dropping another solo album for a couple of years, Wayne stayed busy. Instead of focusing on albums, he flooded the industry with features, collaborating with rappers and R&B artists across the board. This strategy wasn't just about staying relevant, it was about cementing himself as a household name. By the time Wayne returned with Thaw Carter 3 in 2008, his buzz was at an all-time high. And what a return it was. Thaw Carter 3 wasn't just an album, it was a cultural moment. Tracks like Lollipop and A Milli dominated the airwaves, and Wayne's lyrical genius was on full display. The album was an instant classic, selling over 1 million copies in its first week and winning 3 Grammys the following year.
I just want to say thank God, thank New Orleans, thank these people you see right here. and thank you.
Today, many fans and critics consider Tha Carter III to be Wayne's magnum opus. It wasn't just about the sales or the awards. It was about the artistry, the innovation, and the way Wayne pushed the boundaries of hip-hop. In 2008, there was no competition. Lil Wayne was at the top of the rap game, but the journey didn't stop there. Wayne kept his momentum going, and when he finally released Tha Carter IV in August 2011, fans couldn't wait to hear what he had in store. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling over 900,000 copies in its first week. It was another massive success for Wayne, though some fans felt it didn't quite reach the heights of Tha Carter III. Even so, Wayne continued to prove why he was one of the most influential MCs of his time. By now, all eyes were on Wayne's next project, Tha Carter V. Fans were eagerly anticipating what Wayne would do next, but this is where things started to unravel. By 2014, Tha Carter V had become the most anticipated album in hip-hop. Fans had been waiting for years, and Young Money wasn't shy about hyping it up. In February 2014, Drake teased the album with a simple tweet, Carter 5. That one tweet set off a frenzy. Not long after, Lil Wayne himself confirmed the release date, May 5th, 2014. Fans were counting down the days, expecting another masterpiece from the man who had already given them the Carter III and the Carter IV. But as May came and went with no album, frustration began to build. A new date was announced, December 9th, 2014. This time, it seemed like the album would finally drop. Teasers were everywhere, anticipation was through the roof, and Wayne's loyal fan base was ready. But just 5 days before the scheduled release, on December 4th, Wayne dropped a bombshell on Twitter. In a series of tweets that sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world, Wayne revealed the real reason behind the delay. BirdMan and Cash Money Records had refused to release the album. He described feeling like a prisoner, not just as an artist, but in terms of his creativity. He apologized repeatedly to his fans, making it clear that the delay wasn't his fault. But the biggest shock came when he declared that he no longer wanted to be part of Cash Money.
Lil Wayne dropped a bomb today. Man, the New Orleans rapper sent out a series of tweets saying that he no longer wants to be on Cash Money Records and that the label has refused to release his The Carter 5.
Fans were stunned. This was the same BirdMan and Cash Money that had been Wayne's home for years, the label he had stayed loyal to even when other artists left. Now he was publicly airing out their dirty laundry. And this wasn't just some temporary fallout. Just a month and a half later, in early 2015, Wayne took the feud to the next level by filing a $51 million lawsuit against BirdMan and Cash Money. The lawsuit wasn't just about Tha Carter V.
Teen Lil Wayne sued BirdMan and Cash Money for $51 million. He was trying to get out of his contract as well. He also sued Universal Music for $40 million, saying he was owed royalties.
The lawsuit wasn't just about Tha Carter V. It revealed a complicated history of contracts and promises that Cash Money had failed to deliver on. Wayne had signed multiple agreements with the label over the years, starting with his first deal in 1998. He signed new deals in 2003, 2005, 2006, 2008, 2009, and 2012. The 2012 agreement was particularly significant. In this deal, Wayne agreed to deliver 4 solo albums and 1 duet album. In return, he was promised $10 million per solo album, $8 million up front when he began working on the album, and another $2 million upon its completion. This was supposed to be Wayne's big payday, but Cash Money had other plans. Another key detail from the lawsuit was Wayne's 2003 contract, which allowed him to create and own Young Money Records. Under this agreement, Wayne was entitled to 49% of Young Money's profits, while Cash Money held the other 51%. Meanwhile, his 2008 contract stated that Cash Money was required to provide Wayne with monthly accounting updates on all Young Money income and expenses. And then there was the infamous 2009 Drake letter agreement. This deal guaranteed Wayne 1/3 of all net profits from Drake's recordings. Considering Drake went on to become one of the best-selling artists of all time, this should have been a massive source of income for Wayne. But here's the thing. BirdMan and Cash Money didn't honor any of these agreements. They failed to provide the monthly accounting updates, leaving Wayne in the dark about Young Money's finances. Worse, they didn't pay him a single dime from the profits generated by Drake's career. That's right, Lil Wayne, the man who discovered Drake and helped shape him into a global superstar, didn't see a penny from Drake's success. If you thought the earlier revelations were bad, things went from shady to downright outrageous. The lawsuit also revealed that Cash Money never even registered Young Money as being partly owned by Lil Wayne despite their agreements. That means Wayne, who was supposed to own 49% of the label, wasn't officially recognized as a co-owner. Let that sink in. The label he helped create, the one that birthed megastars like Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga, was technically not even his. And the list of offenses didn't stop there. Cash Money also failed to pay royalties to Young Money artists. This was the exact reason Tyga ended up suing the label for $10 million. On top of that, BirdMan didn't even pay Wayne the $8 million advance or the $2 million completion fee for Thug Carter Vi. So if you're keeping track, here's the breakdown of the $51 million lawsuit. $8 million advance for Thug Carter Vi that was never paid, $2 million for delivering the finished album, $5 million for failing to register Wayne's 49% ownership of Young Money, $13 million for Wayne's share of Young Money's album sales that BirdMan failed to account for, $25 million because BirdMan allowed all the agreements they'd made over the years to completely fall apart. And here's the kicker, that $51 million doesn't even include the money Wayne wasn't paid for guiding the careers of Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga. That's an entirely separate issue, which makes the whole thing even more insane. But let's not forget, this wasn't BirdMan's first time being accused of not paying his artists. Remember earlier when we talked about the mass exodus of Cash Money artists in the early 2000s? It was the same issue. BirdMan simply wasn't paying people what they were owed. One particularly wild report even claimed that there was a time when Cash Money was raking in $1 million per month. So what did BirdMan do with all that cash? Did he pay his artists? Of course not. Instead, he allegedly bought a luxury car and told everyone it belonged to the crew. Imagine being told that a car was yours, instead of receiving the paycheck you worked for. But rather than settle the matter or pay Wayne what he was owed, BirdMan seemingly decided to take a more drastic approach. On April 24, 2015, Lil Wayne's tour bus was shot at, and the man responsible was Jimmy Winfrey, aka Pee Wee Roscoe.
Shots were fired at the tour bus of Grammy-winning rapper Lil Wayne on the 26th of April. Footage from the NBC affiliate in Atlanta, Georgia, showed several bullet holes in the side of the bus, but no injuries were reported.
At first, people assumed it was connected to the beef between Wayne and Young Thug, but the situation turned out to be far more complicated and sinister. Pee Wee wasn't just Young Thug's road manager, he also had ties to BirdMan. The shooting occurred shortly after Wayne performed at a club called The Compound in Atlanta. Pee Wee allegedly pulled up to the venue with an rifle in his car, telling witnesses, "This is my city, keep messing around and I'll spray the bus." Initially, the police escorted Wayne's bus as it hit the highway, but when it crossed into a new jurisdiction, the escort ended. That's when Pee Wee made his move, firing multiple shots at the bus. Thankfully, no one was injured, but the situation could have easily ended in tragedy. Young Thug had called Pee Wee 8 times just minutes before the incident.
2 rappers have been implicated in a plot to another rapper. Back in April, Lil Wayne's tour bus was attacked. Performers BirdMan and Young Thug have been named in an indictment.
Later, a jailhouse recording surfaced of a conversation between BirdMan and Pee Wee. In the call, BirdMan allegedly told Pee Wee to come collect his money, leading many to believe BirdMan had put a bounty on Wayne's head. It didn't help BirdMan's case when Alvin Lewis, the bus driver, filed a lawsuit claiming Pee Wee had shot at the bus because BirdMan promised to pay him $250,000 and give him a Porsche. So let's get this straight. BirdMan could allegedly afford to pay a shooter, but not the man he called his son. Pee Wee ended up taking a plea deal, which resulted in a 20-year prison sentence. But for Wayne, the ordeal didn't end there. It wasn't until June 7, 2018, that Wayne and BirdMan finally reached a settlement. While the exact details of the settlement remain confidential due to an NDA, it's widely believed to be an 8-figure payout. Shortly after the settlement, on September 28, 2018, The Carter Fifth was finally released. The album marked the end of a long, grueling chapter in Wayne's career. Thankfully, Wayne is no longer tied to BirdMan or Cash Money, and he's free to move forward without the baggage of broken promises and financial betrayal.